Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. The R-Rated Podcast. This week's guest is... Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. Today's guest is Andrea Meyer. Today we're going to talk about how we met on my set on the Years of Faith and what she's up to now. And I'm excited for you guys to hear her journey. So before we get started, where are you from, Andrea?
I am from West Covina, California.
Okay, so kind of from around here. Yeah.
I was born and raised in West Covina.
Nice.
And went to school in Covina.
Mm-hmm.
Lived in Burbank.
Okay, so you're from here. This is like this is your city.
I'm from California.
And did you know you wanted to do acting like ever since you were young, or was it like more of a recent thing? Like when did that spark hit you?
I was a shy kid.
Really?
When I was young.
Wait, really? Yes. You would never I would never assume that, honestly.
Yes. My mom put me and my sister into ballet, tap, and jazz when we were younger. Mm-hmm. Just to help bring out
I feel like every girl does that, right?
More me than my sister Holly. I was very introverted. So, and then that kind of helped me with my shyness is dancing and being in front of, audience and everything. Mm-hmm. I grew up around acting. My parents were in the entertainment industry.
They were?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For 35 plus years. Uh-huh. My parents used to own trains, locomotives, and steam engines. So they use the trains in film, TV, music videos.
Whoa! Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And so you were around it all the time?
I grew up around it.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up, but I was kind of like a late bloomer with acting.
Yeah. Like at what age would you say you started like taking acting classes, or like what was that first step for you?
The first step for me was working with my dad in Wild Wild West.
Ooh, okay.
Will Smith, Kevin Kline.
No way. Wait, that's so cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I was Taft Hartley.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Got all my vouchers, all my SAG vouchers.
Nice.
So my dad was in charge of the trains, locomotives, and steam engines in the movie.
Yeah.
And I played one of the brothel girls.
I love it.
One of the saloon girls.
I got to go watch the movie and find you. I'm gonna be like, is that her? Zoom in. You'll see me.
So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so that was 3 weeks.
And being around with your dad too.
Yeah. We got to eat lunch together.
Yeah.
And do some scenes together. And he's not just like behind the camera, but he also likes to act too.
Yeah.
Back then he was doing his own stunts.
He was,
running the trains and acting, and
very cool.
That's kind of when I got my first bug. I'm like the acting bug. I'm like, wow, I really like this.
You like the vibe of it.
I like
you were never nervous like being in front of people like that?
In the beginning, I'm gonna say, because we shot the saloon scene 3 weeks. I was at Sony, the back lot.
Yeah, in Culver City.
Yeah,
because I was just there today. That's so funny. Yeah. Okay. I had no idea.
That's where we were for 3 weeks shooting the scenes that I was in, the saloon.
Wow. Very cool.
And I just was like, the first few days I was nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this is, and after a while, it's like, this is not so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fun. It's like I'm meeting new friends. I get to play this character.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's like, there was no speaking, but it was a feature role.
No, but it's still fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then, wearing the costumes and everything.
Yes. In that like time period and everything.
Yeah, the corset.
And yeah. Okay. So after that, what was your next step? Like, were you like, I'm going to pursue it full time, or like how did you get to where you are?
I kind of was on the back burner for a little bit with it because at that time I was going through a divorce. So my first priority was my son,
right,
and having a regular
9
to 5 9 to 5 job, and just making sure I'm there for him to pick him up from school, take him to school. So I had it on the acting on the back burner for a little while until he got older.
Okay. And so now let's say he's older, like, and what sparked that initial, like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get back into acting. Or did you ever stop, or was it just like on the back burner? Or did you like put it on hold like completely while you were raising your son?
I put it on hold completely for a while.
Okay. So then
because I felt like he needed me, my son needed me, and I needed to be there 100% for him. Yeah. Because as you know, when you're on set, that's like crazy hours.
Well, you're
10,
gone for
12,
like 12 hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
So that
and I feel like if you're not in the industry, you're just like 12 hours. Like that sounds crazy. Like what are you doing there for 12 hours? What does your husband think about that? Like when you're gone for like 12 hours? Is he used to it?
He's used to it.
Okay.
He's like, used to it. And he was kind of like he was kind of like excited, like seeing like the different roles that I was getting, you know, playing, you know, the different characters. I know. And that was kind of cool. And then like, you know, he'd see me come home. It's like, whoa. Yeah. Okay. It's like 1950s because I play like different eras. Like
I know.
40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Yes. You know, I could even do 80s, you know, with the big hair.
Yes. What's your favorite era to play?
70s.
70s? Why? The hair?
I like the whole wardrobe. Yeah. I like, you know, the long, you know, kind of hippie hair and you know, the boots.
I do love that too. And it looks super cute. Like
the lace up boots.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
And it just brings me back to just like how my mother used to dress me and my sister as twins back in the 70s.
Are you a twin? No. Or just dress us?
No,
okay.
Okay.
I was like, wait, I didn't know this.
No. She used to dress us like twins.
Okay, that's like fun.
The boots and the you know the bows and the hair.
I probably would do that too. Honestly, if I had 2 daughters, I'd be like, let's match you guys. Okay, so you put it on the back burner. Now, what sparked it again to be like, you know what? It's been on the back burner for too long. I want to pursue this again.
Well, I worked at Glendale Adventist Medical Center for a while as a medical secretary. Okay. And when I was just getting so bored with it. Yeah. I was getting bored.
It wasn't giving you that.
No, it
that
wasn't.
You needed.
It was boring, and I was tired of all the gossiping.
Right. I know. Honestly, I've been noticing that a lot. Office jobs, like they gossip. Like I'm not used to like being like, you know, usually I'm on set. So the days I'm at the office, I'm like, whoa.
I know.
I'm like, there's too much drama here. I gotta go.
Drama. I'm more of a free bird. Yeah. I like to be out and about and meeting new people and networking. And I just felt like a caged animal. I don't know how else to say it. Just like
were you nervous like taking that risk of like did you stop the medical like assistant stuff or did you still do it while you were
I stopped.
Okay.
I stopped as soon as the kids both of our boys went away to college. I stopped. I'm like, you know what? I always wanted to be an actress. Yeah. You know, it was in me. I not just because I grew up around it and my sister's in acting. Yeah. My sister Holly, she acts. Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Do you still get nervous or is it?
Yes, of course. You do? I still get nervous.
Okay.
You know, I feel like we have to. And that's
it's like part of it.
Yeah, because it feels like it's a good thing to be nervous about. Yeah. You know, it gets me excited too.
True. I mean, I get nervous.
I'm not like sweating or anything. Or
right.
To pass out. Right. But you know what I mean? But
just
I'm like
dripping sweat. You're like, this is part of it. This is fun.
All right.
It's all part of the experience.
Yeah, do you need water? Yeah. It's not that bad. But yeah, I do get nervous and I do get excited about my auditions. And I had last night I worked in a short film. Ooh, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And it's a drama.
I love dramas. So
that was
has there been any character so far that you're like, wow, this one's a tough one, but like, you know, obviously you were able to do it, but like maybe it was a little bit more difficult than other characters you try to portray or be
not yet.
Ooh, okay.
But I want that. I want one of those characters. Yeah. I want to be one of those characters. Homeless or maybe a drug addicted mother or an alcoholic mom, wife. I would like to play that.
What do you usually get casted as? Do you feel like do you get typecasted as a sweet mom? Like what do you get?
Yes.
I feel like I might be guilty of this too.
Oh my gosh. Well, last night, my character, Mrs. Martin, upper middle class. So you know, dressed prim and proper with the the pearls and the pearl earrings.
We love some pearls.
My husband's gone to Harvard, and you know what I mean. I've been to Stanford, and the kids, our children have to only go to the best schools. So.
One of those. Yeah. Okay.
Or I'll get the Betty Crocker kind of mom. She's
baking.
Baking. Here's a beautiful pie for you.
I was like, oops, there was a cake in the scene that I remember. I was like, here's a cake. In Years of Faith, you had a cake as well. Well, we could talk about that actually, how we met, because it relates to what we're talking about. How long in after you had started getting back into how long was Years of Faith in this whole timeline of things?
Before I got back into acting?
How long after getting back into it was Years of Faith, do you think?
Probably a couple years.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So years later, we meet on Backstage, was it? I think it was Backstage.
Are you sure it was an Actors Access?
It could be. No, I'm not sure. Actors, or was it, what was the other one?
LA Casting.
Casting
Frontier.
Do you think it was LA Casting?
It might have been.
I think it was LA Casting, because I think I use Backstage now, but before I didn't know about Backstage, so I just used LA Casting. But anyway, I wrote my first film in film school. It was my first film that I wrote and directed, so obviously first film, you already know. But anyway, I made
She was amazing.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, everybody. But anyway, I made a post on LA Casting. I needed a mom who needed to basically be a happy mom, but also have the worst thing that could possibly happen is losing a child. In this situation, she was kidnapped. And also they were twin girls. So one twin gets kidnapped, one, grows up without her sister. She has to raise, or her and her husband raise the twin that didn't get kidnapped. All over the years, they're crying, there's a giant hole in their heart. It was never the same. How could it be when you lose a child, right? So I just needed someone who could deliver both, have that really open, warm heart that you're just oh, give me a hug, mom, that feeling. And then I also needed her to cry and really break down and not worry about looking cute on screen. I needed the emotions and the tears to just run, flow out and stuff. So that's what I was looking for when I was casting. And it was, I still remember that day. It was yesterday. It was so clear because, I was so excited about doing my first casting. And I was nervous too, because I had never casted a mom role or anything. And I was hopefully I know what I'm saying or doing, but I just felt in the story, my heart was in it. So I was this is what I want emotionally. And, you came in and I felt like we hit it off right away. We did.
Yeah.
And it was just so
like that too.
Yeah. I felt like it just clicked. And it was just easy back and forth. I felt the vibe. And then I was okay, let's start the scene. And she went for it. And I was I already knew. I was yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. I was she's the one. I think I looked over at my friend. And I was she's the one. But I started to play cool. So I was yeah, I'll get back to you. That's so annoying, isn't it? But yeah, I was okay, play it cool. Don't scream of excitement.
You have to do that though. I mean, there are other.
But in the moment, I want to be it's you. You got the part.
Congratulations.
But I was no, you have to be professional.
Yeah, down low.
I'm okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, exactly. But I was I want to let her know ASAP. So she can lock in the dates and we can start talking and figure everything out. And when did I let you know? Was it a week or a couple of days?
It was like 4 or 5 days later.
Yeah, and that was me holding it together.
It was
I was play hard to get.
It was less than a week.
Less than a week. Yeah. No, because I had my mindset. I was no, she's the one. It has to be.
And I loved playing Michelle.
Did you have fun?
I did. And I just felt it was just your short film was a roller coaster ride for me.
Yes.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
As a mother and trying to hold it together.
Exactly. And you can see that too. I feel yeah.
But still pining, for my other daughter.
Exactly. Because you want to be that loving, fun mom that you used to be to Faith, but it's you have this deep
hole in your heart because you're missing your other daughter who's supposed to be growing up with her. It's like, how do you balance that out? Like, how do you deal with grief, depression, like all that, like anxiety, and raising a child and keeping it together? You know, it's like a lot of different themes there.
There's a lot of
and it's just, you know, it's just crazy because I feel like,
and it's real too.
Yeah. I mean, but like for you, really it didn't even seem like you were just able to like bring those tears out. And I'm like, I feel like it's.
But yeah, I wanted to do a good job for you. And,
which you did a fantastic job.
But I wanted to be her. I wanted to be Michelle.
Yeah.
And, you know, really pay attention and listen to the notes that you were giving me.
Yeah.
You know, what you wanted and what you saw.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you literally executed it 100%. I think that's why I was like even more obsessed with directing, and I was like, I need to do this full time. Like, I mean, I was like, I was like, wow, like if this is the type of people I get to work with, and like that's how it comes out, like, and I just remember like seeing the performance live, and I literally like everyone was getting emotional just watching it because it felt so real, you know, like. It almost felt like if you don't cry, it's weird. Like you don't have a heart. You know what I mean?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, literally, what's wrong with
you? This is like
I just remember being like almost like choked up. Like I was like, oh, that was intense, you know? And I feel like now, you know, watching that scene over and knowing what had happened to my aunt losing her son and like seeing your reaction to like, you know, getting like the news and like all that kind of stuff. It was just like, I was like, that's literally what my aunt felt. And I know, and
it's like, you feel like your heart's like, you're going to have a heart attack. Your heart's going to stop.
Like it's literally going to stop. Like, yeah. And that's exactly what she told me too. And like, I didn't even know that feeling back then, but I just assumed, I was like, I can't even imagine what it would be like. Cause I mean, I'm like, I can't even imagine what it'd be like if I lost my mom. And I feel like, what would she, like, how would she feel losing it? Like,
it's like you've lost control.
Yeah.
You know, you want to control it. You want to make it better. You want it to come back. But, you know, you're just like, I don't know. You just feel just overwhelmed and grief stricken and, you know, just out of control.
Yeah.
And just not being able to have that. And I mean, that was a really emotional
no, it was
scene, but it was so great working with all of the cast and the crew.
You guys all like you guys all were in I was like
everybody meshed together so well.
And literally like I'm just like, wow, is it normal to have such a smooth and like great cast? And so you know, when you start like that, you have high expectations going forward for the other productions, and when they're not always like that or not as smooth or there's, you know, stuff going on, you're like, huh, it's not like Years of Faith. But no, like it was amazing working with you on that because it really like it made me fall in love with like directing even more because I'm like, wow, having that connection with an actor, actress, and being able to peel those layers like an onion and be vulnerable and like it for me, like it almost feels like I'm in a therapy session and then I can like vent to you and you can vent to me and we can like, you know what I mean? It's like that's literally, but like not in like a like, oh, like you're therapy, because I mean I think I vouch for therapy. I love therapy. Like I feel like everyone should do therapy.
I do
just
too.
talking to someone about how you feel and like them not like knowing you. It's just like you just feel like you can really let it out and like not have anyone judge you, right? So it was just nice, like being able to talk to you in between takes and like,
and you know what,
when we were rehearsing and stuff.
Nobody's perfect.
No,
and we're all can be vulnerable at points in our life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we're human.
Yeah. And we should be able to talk about our feelings more and like, it shouldn't be like an issue. So like, that's why I think that's why I love directing so much. Cause I feel like it really gets you on that deeper level that other crew positions don't have, you know what I mean? Like obviously being on set is always awesome. And like, it's cool. Like every position is really cool, especially if you're good at it. But like the reason why I love directing and writing is because like, first of all, it's in my head, right? I'm writing it.
Right.
And I'm like, this is like how I feel like this character would be. And like,
and that's exciting.
Yeah. That's exciting. Then actually seeing it like with my eyes come to life. I'm like, oh my God, like this was literally an idea in my head. I wrote it down. And now it's being recreated right in front of me. And it's even better than what I had written down. You know what I mean? So that part was
that's like, exciting.
Oh, yeah, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Especially because that was my first script that I wrote too. So it's like, obviously like first things are like, they're not going to be perfect, right? There's a lot of things that I felt like I took away from that set. I learned from them. Like, this is what I could do better next time. But like I said, first film, like there's a lot to learn. But
you're very talented.
Thank you.
You're very talented.
Thank
so
you.
You need to keep
I'm
writing,
excited to work on a project with you
directing.
now that I have more experience. I feel like I know what I'm doing even more now.
Well, I feel like I'm getting
exactly
more experience, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera also.
Ooh, okay.
You know, there's a lot that goes into films and commercials and, you know, TV and, you know, it just takes, everybody has a job to do.
Right. And it's such a team effort. Like you cannot make a film, commercial, short film, documentary, whatever by yourself. Like you need that team, like to really execute the
make
vision.
It come alive. And
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that's another thing that I like so much too. It's just like, you know, you work together when you work really well with like a group of people, even like with an actress or actor, keep booking them for your stuff.
And I'm still learning too along the way.
As we're always
always growing and, you know, just you know, having these aha moments. And then.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Someday though, I would love to play, you know, after a while I get tired of playing, you know, Betty Crocker, you know what I mean? Like
honestly,
you know,
I'm gonna try to write a script and get you in it, maybe, like, and play something that like so opposite of like anything that you've done. So I'm like, oh, this is like gonna be a mission of mine now. Like I'm gonna make it happen because I think it's fun. Like I like that you said that. Like you're like, I want to play something different. I want to like be typecast as the friendly like mom or posh mom,
right?
Or
the
whatever.
Posh mom, the mom that's, you know, doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's like has somebody else cleaning her house and doesn't lift a finger. You know, like dusting or mopping.
You're like, I can clean the house.
I just did that before I got here. So it's like. You know, but I know that we've had a little bit some similarity.
We talked about that too on Years of Faith, like how you know, we obviously, like I said, we talked a lot like in between sets because we were trying to like dig deeper, get those emotions out for that emotional scene in the short. And the scene was her crying to her daughter that wasn't kidnapped, and it was a really emotional scene about, you know, finding an old video camera that had footage of them and stuff like that. Obviously that would trigger you if you saw like old footage of your daughter that has been missing for years and you haven't like looked at any of those stuff for who knows how long, right? So it was a really emotional scene, and I needed her to like get those tears out like waterfall. Like, and I told her, I was like, it's okay if you can't, like, we can do eye drops. We just like squeeze. I was and you were like, no. And I was like, no, seriously, it's fine. Like, and you're like, no, like I can cry. And I was kind of like, how can she cry on? Because I'm like, I don't think I can. Well, back then I didn't think I could cry on command, but now I think I could.
Yeah.
Now I have things that have happened that would trigger me to cry.
But I did my research on Michelle, that character. And just, you know, what happened in the short film, you know, my daughter, you know, gone missing, you know what I mean, for many years, and missing her terribly every day, you know, and trying to be, you know, there for Faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. Every day.
Yep.
But I felt like I could, you know, and I did. I felt like I could bring that.
Yep.
And I know that I've had, you know, we've all had things in our past that bring us sorrow and you know, just hurt. And
do you use the pain that has happened in your like real life into act? Like, does that help you bring it out in your characters?
You know what,
do you relate it? Do you tie it in?
I was told that we're not supposed to do that.
Okay, interesting.
In my acting class I was told that we're not supposed to do that, like something from the past that has happened in my life.
Like you can't use it as a trigger. Like it's like,
I mean, I could.
Right. But do they tell you not to do
They tell you not to do that.
Okay. That's interesting. What's the reasoning behind that?
Just because it brings you out of your character.
And you start to, got it. That makes sense.
And it does make sense.
Yeah.
They're actually right. It brings you out of your character that you're supposed to be.
Right. Now you're telling your personal life.
Now I'm like, okay, I'm back to Andrea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, this has happened with Andrea and, you know, her son and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not Michelle anymore.
Right.
you know, so that does make sense. So I want to stay in that character, whatever that character is, in that emotion, in that action, you know, and not go back to, you know.
That's so interesting too, because like when I went to film school, my directing teacher, he was like, you know, being able to find something that, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's like, you know, connect with your actor, actress, and being able to find something that like relates to what's happening in the scene, and if they could take that from their personal life and like add that emotion in. So like I was like, oh, okay, like that. But now hearing your side, I'm like, that makes more sense, because then it's like
because then you're not 100% in your character. I'm maybe like 50% Michelle and 50% Andrea.
That's not what we want.
That's not what we want. You know, but I could have done that.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm like, that doesn't serve me or you, you know, as the director, or even any of the other cast. So
that's no, that makes so much sense. I'm like, they should teach that in film school. Like this whole time I was like,
well, there was a while there that I was doing it wrong too. I was just doing, you know, like, this happened to me many years ago. I'm going to use that as
so you character. You tried that attempt?
I used to, but then now that I've been going to the acting center, you know, that's not what they teach you.
That's so interesting.
You know? And it does make sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
You know,
wow. So. Okay, cool. Really cool. Do you want to try and tap into like, do you want to talk about your son?
We can.
Or like, how, okay.
Right. My son has been to 3 different rehabs.
Okay, so you're familiar with like.
He's been to a psych ward. It's been just.
And do you feel like it works? Like honestly, because that's like doing this documentary. I'm really trying to focus on like, does rehab work? And if this like traditional way doesn't work, why don't we explore and try alternative methods of recovery?
I think there needs to be some alternative methods to recovery because I don't feel like I always like to have the faith that these recovery places are working, and that my son or anybody that's in recovery is getting what they need. But part of me thinks that they don't, because they're out there again. And they're doing it again.
Right.
A lot of these recovery places, I feel like they're in it for the money. Okay.
Ka-ching.
I feel they're in it for the money, and they really don't care
about the actual patient.
Yeah, about the actual patient getting better and, you know, beating the addiction.
So what I've been like learning a lot of insight on things that I didn't know before about drug addiction, you know, like doing this documentary, like I've been really trying to dig deep and find like alternative methods of recovery and just kind of like how things lead to like addiction and everything, just anything that relates to addiction. I was like, I want to know. And what I've been learning is that like these rehabs, a lot of them, there's a lot of dirty rehabs. And when I say that, I mean, like they know that the insurance is going to pay for the patient to be there. So what they do is, there's even a movie about it. It's called Body Brokers. It's literally about this boy who is addicted to heroin. Yeah, go ahead. He's addicted to heroin, and he basically ends up at this rehab because things take a bad turn, and he ends up at this rehab because someone he met, he looked like a sponsor type thing, and he was like, yeah, come to the rehab, like we'll help you and blah blah blah. He goes to the rehab, gets the rehab gets the insurance money, and they tell him like, hey, you should bring other people here, and they give him like $500 spending money. So it's like they're giving their patients money, and then they use it for drugs.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
terrible. Then they're just bringing in more and more, and the rehab's milking the insurance basically. And it's like, that's just so f***ed up.
Oh, it's f***ed up totally.
It's so f***ed up.
I know.
Like you're not doing it for like to be like helping. You're doing it for the money.
You're not wanting to help. It's more about the money.
It's always about the money.
My son told me, well, we got him out of one rehab because it was that. The people that owned this drug and alcohol rehab, they were using the money. They were using the money to buy cars, houses, go on these expensive vacations. So, and they had, you know, counselors, you know, God only knows if they even were a counselor, you know, or a therapist. The place was dirty. You know, it just wasn't well kept.
Yeah.
And
and it's like,
and the
where's the money going to then?
Well, the money's going to the people that own it, but it's
not in the
being
right
pocketed.
Exactly.
It's going to it's fun money. It's, you know, like I said, cars and vacations. And
watch that movie, Body Brokers. You'll watch like, you see rehabs very differently. You're like, wow, like that is so up, because they literally are like, oh, like if you're giving an addict $500 to $800, you know how much drugs they could buy, and like,
or even if they survive.
If they survive it.
You know, if they survive it, literally after that money's given to them. You know, and what it's laced with, God only knows.
Yes, I know. And that's another big issue right now, is that a lot of the drugs are cut with fentanyl. So it's even worse than before. Like we've been in like a terrible drug epidemic for a long time now, but like especially during COVID, once COVID hit, it got so bad with fentanyl, being isolated by yourself, like the whole lockdown situation. So many people overdose, and it just like sucks that it's getting worse instead of better. And like, I hate how people categorize like, oh, like, you know, they're an addict, like they probably come from like a bad family or something like that, because that's not true. And that's like another thing that
it's not true.
I'm going to show in my documentary too, is that it doesn't matter where you come from, who raised you. Like, if you end up in that path, like it can happen. It can literally happen to anyone. Like, I know millionaires who are addicts. I know people who have nothing and they're addicts. I know people with no parents who are addicts. I know people with parents who've been together for 30 years.
It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from, what race you are. Nope. It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, if you're educated, not educated, it does not matter. And
you know, and
everyone has such crazy stories.
Rehabs, which is very upsetting to me, because they know that the parents are desperate.
I know.
And they feed off of that. Yeah. Knowing that the parents, loved ones, friends, family, whatever, are desperate to get their loved one that is struggling with an addiction.
Right. It's like, why is the success rate 7%? Like, if your rehab really works, wouldn't it be higher? Like, what is going on in there?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, what is going on in there?
Well, nothing is going on in there.
Yes.
That's the answer. Nothing good is going on in there.
Exactly. And it's deeper than just like, oh, they used hard drugs. It's like, you don't know what that person was going through that led them to that.
There's more
you don't know
to
if there's addiction issue, mental health. That you don't know what the situation is.
It's mental health. It's you know, it could be just trying to fit in society.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's what I found out with my son.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea.
Okay.
He was just trying to fit in. All this time I thought that he was extroverted.
Yeah.
Because he was in he got straight A's in school. He was in cross country and track and field. He was in theater.
Wow.
In school. And he, you know, musicals and, you know, just painting, and he was in comedy.
Yeah. Wow. So creative.
Very creative.
Yeah.
Very creative.
Yeah.
But just like a few months ago, he told me, Mom, I you know, I was struggling. I was bullied. I was bullied in school. I was trying to fit in. And there are a lot of kids that are going through this right now. They're bullied, trying to fit in.
I was bullied too.
You know?
Yeah.
So was I.
I was bullied for, like, I dated this guy in high school, the quarterback of the football team, and I wasn't a cheerleader. So the whole cheer team just like came after me. And this was like when social media first started. So like they were like cyberbullying me online. And those like tweets, those like, you know, comments, they don't go away,
no, they
right?
Don't. It's very hurtful,
everyone can see
and
that.
You internalize that.
Exactly.
And, you know,
like,
you feel
how do you
hurt and shame. And, you know, it's just my son was feeling like, you know, back then I didn't think I could come to you and I didn't want to upset you. And, you know, maybe he expected so much.
It's so hard for me because I'm like, you're so easy to talk to, but I get it. Like,
but he's a boy, and, you know, I started seeing the changes in him.
Right.
You know, and confrontational, like in high school, running away, not coming home when he was supposed to. You know, he'd be gone for like days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, where are you?
So you think it was the group of friends that he surrounded himself with?
Because he wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
And he was, all this time, like I said, I thought he was extroverted. He was actually introverted. And wherever he could fit in, he was going to grab that and run with it.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting into a wrong crowd.
That's what happened.
To fit in. And that's when, you know, he was more extroverted, you know, with being able, you know, talkative and, you know, being more in with, you know, the ladies.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, you had more friends, but they weren't the friends that you really wanted to have because they didn't have your back. You know, they wouldn't care if you lived or died.
And those aren't, that sad? I mean, those aren't your real friends.
No, they're not. But back then, that's, you know, that's what he wanted. You know, that's what he gravitated towards. And he felt like he could talk and, you know, he could laugh because he was on all these drugs. And, you know, but then it was just like this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then he changed. He was mean. You know, I couldn't talk to him anymore. I felt like I was losing him.
Yeah.
He was scattered in his thinking process.
Which is a common behavior too.
Yes, it is a common behavior.
Yeah.
So
does addiction run in your family at all?
No.
Okay. So it must have been a big shock if this was
addiction. So I mean, my ex-husband is an alcoholic.
Okay.
My ex.
So it kind of
does.
Not on,
I know.
Maybe not on your side, but on your ex-husband.
I'm sure there's somebody in my family that's an alcoholic. We all have somebody, or a couple
who drinks too much.
Yeah, drinks too much, smokes too much, whatever.
And you know what I've learned also doing this documentary is that people think that weed is the gateway drug, but it's actually alcohol. Alcohol is the gateway to everything because you use it celebrating, like when you get a promotion, you're like, oh, let's have a drink, or like,
and just like self-medicating too.
Right.
Like maybe he wasn't going to go out one night or something, you know, and then like this social media thing, you know, trying to fit in there and, you know, be noticed on social media, whatever it be, like Instagram or, you know, what's it, TikTok?
TikTok,
TikTok.
I
was going to say TikTok.
Snap.
TikTok. I'm a mom. TikTok.
I don't
know, whatever.
I use Instagram and like Facebook to keep in touch with my family and stuff, but
But I mean, just to, you know, to fit in, and like sometimes maybe he wasn't going to go out, and so he'd feel lonely. And a lot of people get like that. So they self-medicate.
Yes.
And you know, you get a call at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you know, when you get that call, it's not good. You know, is your son blah blah blah? Well, he's here in the hospital. You know. So it's a lot of it like could be, you know, mental illness.
It literally, and the thing is, like, it's like, I feel like it's not talked about enough. Like, you don't learn about mental health or addiction in school or anything. So it's like, you kind of have to educate yourself on it. Or like, maybe, you know, maybe your mom educated, or maybe you saw like a documentary on it or something, but it's like, no one in school is telling you like, hey, like, this is something that, you know, I think we should, like, there should be a class about like mental health in school. Like, I feel like we should talk about stuff like that because, you know, I feel like kind of like the same thing, like with your son, like I was like partying and like hanging out with my cousin. We like I said, he was 2 years older than I was. So, you know, he was a senior when I was a sophomore. So when he invited me to go to like his friend's party, like my eyes like lit up, like a senior is letting me hang out with him and his friends. And, you know, I just felt so like excited. So like back then it just seemed like harmless, like, oh, like he's drinking, smoking weed, I'm drinking. I didn't smoke weed in high school because I was like paranoid about it, but I was like, oh, whatever, you know, this is harmless. And then he would always drink like a lot. Like he was always like drinking the most out of everyone, but I didn't see that as like an issue. But I was like, oh, he just like knows how to have fun, right? Like you don't like, no one's like, oh, like that could be out like alcoholism or like alcohol addiction, right? Or that's part of an addiction. And I was just like, you know, clueless, having fun. We're going to concerts. It's still happening. And then he goes off to college and he goes to Santa Barbara, which is a party school, right? Like Santa Barbara is known for like big block parties and stuff like that. I don't know about right now with COVID, but like it used to be. And so I went to go visit him when he was in college. So I was like, oh my God, my cousin in college is inviting me to hang out now. Like, and now I'm a junior, right? So I'm seeing it happen, like the usual stuff, like the drinking, the smoking, but now there's Xanax involved. And my cousin got the Xanax because his psychiatrist and therapist like recommended it to like him. He had like, you know, some issues with his biological father. His biological father like suffered from addiction, so they never had a really good relationship. He was never there for my cousin, and so I think that affected my cousin a lot growing up. You know, obviously being a boy and not having that father figure, you know, being a boy being a boy and not having that father figure obviously will take a toll on you. So that was always something that had affected him, and I think, I mean, I don't know if it was like a reason to give him like prescribe him 75 Xanax pills. I don't think so. I think
it's all about it's money. It's all money.
But why
have you seen the show Dope Sick?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, I know.
It's just about making a buck.
Big pharma. Like,
big pharma.
You suck.
Making a buck.
Literally.
They don't care if you live or die.
No, they actually
don't. It's all about just making money and how much you can make.
Exactly. So like when I saw that, I was just like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's Xanax. It's chill. Like my therapist or psychiatrist prescribed it. And I was just like, seems like a lot, you know, and they're these like big white pills that are like long and they have like an X on it. Like it already looks like intimidating. And then he's like, oh yeah, it's chill. Like I just drink on it.
Oh no.
And that's an issue because that makes you black out. You know, you can already black out from alcohol alone already. And now you're adding Xanax, which wipes like everything. So, and also Xanax is very addictive, especially when you drink on it. So that is when the addiction started. That was kind of like when the addiction really started. But obviously in high school, like, you know, maybe the drinking and the smoking weed led to the Xanax. I don't know, but the therapist and psychiatrist had a big part in that because she was the one prescribing him 75 pills like at a time. So it's like, you think someone in college is not gonna like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take like this much, especially if they are struggling with addiction issues and stuff. It's like,
and
no,
they trust, you know, the doctor.
Of course, they're like, oh, doc, like, and that's literally what he told me too.
You
it's
know,
like
he or she knows, the doctor knows better than me, so this pill is gonna make me feel better, and but yet, you know, you become addicted to it.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened.
Saying that the drinking and then the Xanax is not good,
and smoking
together.
weed on top of that. It's like triple threat, right? And it's like it got to the point where he was blacking out and not remembering things that were happening like the night before or like whatever, and like it was really stressful and like scary for my aunt because, you know, she would be the one getting the calls like, oh, this is happening. And so I kind of started to like see it wasn't like a party like fun thing anymore. Like now it's turning into a problem. And like I did try to speak up and say like, hey, like you need to chill with this. Like, but you know, I am the younger one by 2 years.
You want to help, but you don't want to push him away.
Exactly. There's that. And we had a very, very close bond and trust where like it would like we knew like we would never snitch on each other. It's weird, like very loyal, like ride or die, and like I would never want to get him in trouble in anything. But it got so bad to a point where I had to like I had to involve his mom. I was like, I can't let you get away with this like behind closed doors.
Because you'd feel like, or I know I would feel terrible if I didn't say something and like something terrible happened.
Right.
And,
but that, you know, did like put a strain in our relationship at that time because he kind of saw it as like, oh, you betrayed me, you know, like, but I know it was the drugs talking. It wasn't like him because we were very, very close. But like, obviously when he was on heavier drugs, it was like different person. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Right. So I was just like, I felt like I wasn't even talking to the same person anymore.
Absolutely. I didn't even know who he was, meaning my son. Like, where did he go? This is not him. You know, and then finally it's like he's back now, he's,
which is amazing,
you know, clean and sober.
Congratulations. That's so exciting.
He's
like
working. He's working. He's working. He has a girlfriend.
Ooh, okay. So
he's finishing school. This is his bachelor's degree, and he
wants
to get a master's degree.
That's amazing.
You know, giving back, helping, like as a therapist or a counselor.
Yeah. No, that's great.
But I feel like we have to have something needs to happen because these drug and alcohol addiction places, you know, they don't have the best interest in our children or, you know, friends, family members. They really don't care. It's more about just making a buck and you know what they can buy for themselves. And you know, it's just it's not good. It's just it's not working.
I saw
because like, if they're in rehab continuously, which I'm sure the same, you know,
in and out,
Josh,
like
in and out, like a revolving, like the door, you know, psych ward, whatever.
My cousin saw everybody.
You feel like, or I felt like as a mom, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to push him away.
Right. It's like, do you cut them off? But then it's like, if something happens, why you cut them off?
Something mentally is wrong.
Exactly.
Something's going on. For me, I feel like that's making him feel this way or act this way.
Right.
Something happens.
Right. Yeah.
You know, or like, you know, it could be anything. Maybe he, you know, it could be ADD or it could be ADHD. It could be,
which my cousin suffered from ADHD too, and like anxiety. So that, and I remember he was like, yeah, I have the Xanax to like help my anxiety and ADHD. So like, obviously I thought it was harmless. I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure the doctor knows what she's doing. Right.
Yeah.
But
exactly. You hope to think the doctor.
The problem, like where it really went wrong is like, he's still at the party school. So he's able to sell these Xanax pills to other students and trade it for other stuff.
Right.
Trade it for other drugs. Because eventually you're going to get tired of the Xanax too. And that's exactly what happened.
I'm on board with you. We have to find a solution.
Yes.
There has to be something else.
Something else. You can't, whatever we're doing right now is obviously not working. It's absolutely terrible. It's like 7% success rate. Like that. How is anyone in recovery going to feel like motivated or inspired or feel like they can beat those odds? Like, I literally don't understand, like, how do you feel like, yeah, like I'm able to like live with addiction. And that's another thing. It's just so like, it's like every day you're in recovery. It's just sad. Like, it's so in your face that like, I feel like we should be more positive.
Yeah.
Not like every day is like,
else that works. I mean, my son was in sober living. That was a joke.
Oh yeah. My cousin was in sober living too.
I mean, you know, you know, not just the fights that were going on, he would tell me, but you know, people were using heroin, meth. Yeah. You know, it's like, what? It's like sober living. Is this where
is it really so?
Yeah. It's not sober living.
Yeah.
And who are these people that work there?
Yeah.
That are supposed to be checking on, you know, doing random drug tests, right? Obviously that wasn't happening. Yeah. So you know, that's not working. The drug and alcohol rehab's not working. I remember just something I just thought about. My son was telling me when he was in the psych ward, he's like, Mom, they would constantly try to give me a pill to take. And, you know, to kind of like dummy me up and sign something, you know, sign papers, but they try and give you the pill to help, you know, to where you're out of it. Could be Xanax. Who knows what it was?
Who knows?
You know, here, take this pill, but they'd come bother him at like 2 a.m. like early in the morning.
What the?
Yeah. And here's this pill, you know, here, I need you to sign this form, you know, maybe to keep him there or something.
Yeah. And then
to keep him.
And then they could be like, well, so you didn't know you were tripping or
exactly. You didn't know you were tripping.
Yeah.
Exactly. You didn't know you were tripping. So you signed this. I helped you sign it.
Yeah. Literally. I held your hand.
I held your hand, and, you know, but, I said, you know, don't sign anything.
Don't sign anything.
You know, we're going to get you out as soon as we can.
And it makes it also difficult.
Even the psych wards. It's scary.
That is so scary. That's actually terrifying.
Isn't it?
And what's crazy is like, you know, once you're 18, it's like you don't have, as a parent, you don't have like control over, you know, if they stay in, like they have to be willing to go. Did that make things more difficult for you? Or was it like a mutual decision? Like, did he want to go to rehab or was it like, you need to go?
This last time around, which he hit rock bottom.
You kind of have to hit rock bottom like, to be able to go up though,
you know,
right?
Yeah. I think he did. He said he did, that he hit rock bottom. I would think being in jail for a long time would he would hit rock bottom. But that all comes who knows? Who knows? But he said he did, and he wanted to. I want the help, Mom. I want to get better.
That's huge. Yeah.
This is what he's saying, crying. I'm sorry I put you in, you know, my husband. Sorry I put you guys through this.
Yes.
You know, and I want to get better. I want to, you know, go to my meetings. I want to go, you know, to my domestic violence classes. I want to go to my, you know, all of my classes and just, I want to get better and
which is huge. Him being able to say that out loud.
He said that out loud.
And having that realization. Like the person going through addiction has to be able to say it out loud and be able to be like, I want things to be different.
And I want to believe him.
Right.
And I am here for him. And he knows that.
He has a big support team.
He's a big support team. Yeah. And, you know, he had to work through some things, you know, in therapy, which he went to therapy. But, you know, that's between him and the therapist.
Exactly.
But there were a lot of things that were going on in his life that I didn't know. I didn't know about. You know, and that's private to him.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that's where talking to a stranger or therapist is helpful, like to let all that out.
This last time around it was horrifying as a mother. And I'm like, I have to figure out what is going on.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not supposed to as a mom. But I felt like I was like grasping at straws here with him. Looked through his backpack.
Yeah.
I found a journal. And in there, he was talking about suicide. So I was like,
honestly, my cousin was
but at that point I was like,
no,
I can't not do anything about that.
Yeah.
In my heart, I knew that there was something else going on. So I'm like, I feel like I have to help him.
Of course, you're gonna help your son.
It was more than just the addiction. There was something underlying going on. So as a mom, I'm like,
of course.
But I know that talking about addiction is never easy, especially when you know someone close to you going through it. Right. But this is a safe space. I know exactly what you're talking about because I literally like lived through all those moments, but with my cousin. Unfortunately, he's not here anymore. So that's why I'm doing this documentary, that I can bring awareness, do it for him in his honor, and also just to help educate myself and other people on what's really going on and like how can we make a change, because obviously whatever's happening right now is not working.
It's not working at all.
And why are we just going to let it be 7% success rate? Like it should be way higher. Like it's honestly like so sad to think about.
That's
disgusting. It's literally like,
this has been happening for years, and you're saying only 7%. I mean, that makes me sick.
Yeah, right.
So I'm on board with whatever you need help with.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And we need to talk more about it. Like literally this, just talking about it, being open about it, and being able to speak about addiction, that already helps so many people. Like somebody listening right now might struggle through addiction, and you're not alone, and if you feel like rehab's not helping, like try alternative methods, like don't quit cold turkey if it's too hard. Like maybe smoke cannabis and like reduce the like withdrawal. I don't know, whatever works. Like at this point I'm like, I have to look at different ways that work, because what has been going on is just not. So it's almost like I'm desperate for more answers and solutions, right? So
and just know that you're not alone, and that it could be you struggling or a loved one, a friend. So it's
and if you are struggling,
and that I'm a mom, and I had no idea, and it can happen to anybody.
Yeah. And if you are, and you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it, like you can like reach out to your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom. Like they will be more understanding if you come to them and explain why you took this path or how this happened.
No judgment,
just
listening. And we're here just to listen.
Yeah. And if you don't have that, you can always reach out to me. You have my Instagram, and my number's on there too, so you're not alone. But thank you again so much for coming on and sharing your story. And it's always so fun to talk to you and like just spend time together. I hope we get to spend more time together soon.
I hope so too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll probably work on another film together, and you'll see her in there. So stay tuned. All right. Bye guys. See you guys next week.